Hello, hello. Hello, friends. That's right, it's Hambbage here, and why would it be on Steam? If anything, it's going to a Microsoft site. Uh, but it's not going anywhere, guys. It's Minecraft Java version. We play vanilla here. No mods, no fancy add-ons. We just play the game as it was designed and intended, and we play it in the hardcore mode. So there you have it. Now, one thing we probably should do is stash these things back in our boxes and get them stowed away because we're gonna, as usual, find ourselves choked to the brim with already pigman loot and stuff, and not to mention the ubiquitous netherrack that will be all over the place before we know it. So, what? I mean, I guess that's all that has? Let's look and throw the rest of this junk in here. Why? 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 That's full. I mean, I guess that's why. Now I gotta pick the right one. This one. Probably should do. You know what? No, we'll deal with netherrack and random stuff when we get there. Get home. I mean, which probably means we could have just as easily used this one, but we'll set it aside. These two stay out. We need our ender chest to be able to access them. We need to find that ghast. Hopefully it's up here. Oh, it is. Shh. Oh, oh. Pop. Pop. Come on. Pop. Pop. Got him. Oh, I hope that will. Oh, yeah, we did clean up that lava. Do we see a tear? I see a tear. Yeah. That was pretty awful, but again, he surprised us. We haven't even gotten warmed up yet. You know, we got to stretch. So, along those lines of getting warmed up, guys, I don't know what is the deal with this week. Is there like something going on with the alignment of the moon and the planets or something? What is the deal with me not getting to play a couple back-to-back episodes in a reasonable time? This time, it was something with the YouTube upload. Now I don't tend to run anything on the laptop while I'm uploading or recording. Like it does. It's given full reign to just be the game itself, and then the video getting processed. And that reminds me, I need to go check the new video to make sure it's not too jerky or anything like that. I've actually got it running. Just pulled it up. And I'll kind of try to keep an eye on it whenever we get a break here in the action, just to see if it's stuttering or anything visible like that would indicate problems. But yeah, when I went in, I did my thumbnail. I hope you guys enjoyed it. I gave it the little description and all that stuff. Again, I don't heavily edit. I'd rather spend the time playing. I know this isn't. This is the opposite of a huge channel in as extreme sense as it can be. The half dozen or so people that are here regularly and letting me know. I appreciate you guys. And am glad that, I understand not everybody enjoys this style of play or this style of video. And it, as I've said many times, it's the longer format that's better probably for a live stream where folks can drop in and drop out, check in, say hi, see how progress is going, and not watch as much or as little as they want and be able to chat with me and all that while it's going on. The trip to get the little charging cable reminded me that I've still got work to do on that PC setup to where maybe that could be a deal. And still definitely on my to-do list, but maybe something we kind of focus on in the winter time, right? When other activities are limited enough. As I've said, it has been so gorgeous here this fall that it has been tough to justify a whole lot of my own time. You know, that the days when I've played a lot of Minecraft because I'm digging this world and the game and letting you guys see it all. Okay, now we need to be a little bit cautious because... Did you see that? I thought if I just one-shotted him, nobody would care. We saw that on the bridge, it all worked, but I don't know if it was that he was looking at him or what, but yeah, he was all over that. And I don't think I had touched any of this gold. That's why I pulled back up, but perhaps they had already seen that I was moving in. Maybe I got an extra stray piece or something with the cords. Whatever the case, we dealt with it. Now... we just need to keep on. I know this is just a little guy, but they get trolly. Alright. Okay. More. That looks like a pig man, not a piglin. So we can go ahead and grab those. So yeah, I think I covered most of it. I don't know, ultimately, why I can't tell what you are, sir. Oh, you are trouble, but this is quartz. Let's just see if we can avoid trouble, because you'll be a little bit more of a fight with all your armor. So the delay, I guess, was just in the uploading on the video. I set it up, and as I said, this one was shorter, right? It was 50-some minutes, but we hadn't even gone a full hour. And started it processing and uploading. Everything looked great. I think the first indication I got was that it was going to be about 22 minutes. And then before I knew it, I guess I stepped away. I don't remember what I was doing exactly, either swapping my coffee or maybe just going to the bathroom or whatever, because I intended to immediately come back and record this episode. So I came back and looked at the laptop, and then the time was up to 51 minutes, and that's way longer than it ever takes. And I kind of was like, uh-oh, that usually means that it's when I've seen those kind of jumps, it usually means my internet doesn't know that it's broken yet, but it's a Comcast deal. And I've had, just a couple of those, but they certainly don't happen all that often. And then I was surprised because the percentage kept minimally jumping forward, right? So it went from, I don't know, 15% to 18 or something, as I was kind of looking around to see what was going on. So I was like, oh, well, it's still showing that it's uploading. That's odd. And then I kind of checked around, and my other device, my phone, and I checked the PlayStation. They all had signal and good Wi-Fi. So I don't know what was going on there, and that's why I said I was checking the quality to see if it had gotten jittery or anything like that after the fact or in the course of uploading. And so far, at least, again, obviously I'm not listening to it or anything, but it looks to be pretty good. And of course, on any of those, if you guys note something, don't hesitate to drop a comment. It is very likely that there's not much I can do about it. And if it's something that I caught the credits or anything like that blocking the screen, I'll usually talk about it at some point or adjust the comments or the description to say that there's a problem as soon as I really know about it. But if you catch one that goes all choppy halfway through or something like that, honestly, I'm probably never going to see it or know about it. So if you see that, let me know in the comments, and with minimal amount of work, I should at least be able to try wiping and reloading that episode. The sequencing, just on the videos, it would be a little bit out of sync. But as far as the playlists and things, you can manage that. You can go in and move the order so that it would be back at the correct place in the order. But anyway, hopefully there's not too many of those out there. With my luck, there are loads of them, but that's me. And yeah, one thing, of course, led to another. So I was like, well, I'm not, normally that's a quick walk and just kind of, come back in, watch it, and as soon as it's ready to go, do up the next one. Well, as soon as I saw that it was inching upwards, for me, I don't know about you guys, the worst thing I can do in those situations is sit around and look at it. It'll make me so angry, and especially if it starts to trickle one way or another. So I kind of got on with other stuff, left it to its own devices, and now here we are. It is pretty much evening as opposed to afternoon at this point, and it had been late morning when I was doing the original, so kind of lost out, and I'm not gonna pretend like there's gonna be more coming on the heels of this. I'm kind of oddly happy that I was talking with friends and stuff, and everybody kind of just agreed that, not feeling it tonight. Let's save our energy, rally when there's a different activity or something. This is our periodic trivia night, and we often do that every other week, just to kind of space it out a little bit. But it was kind of ironic. I was like, dude, am I gonna reach out and say, hey, if you guys decide to go, cool, but I think I'm gonna sit this one out, or just, I was kind of leaning that way, and then thinking, okay, well, I'll just see how what my energy is and my mood is when it gets a little closer, because a lot of times, I don't like, and I hate it when people kind of do, just rule things out early on, like don't eliminate an opportunity just if you're not quite feeling it or comfortable with it right away, right? I don't know. Sometimes, your friends will be doing something, you're like, that's not exactly my thing. And you start making excuses, right? Everybody kind of does that. The little white lies, the things that are like, oh yeah, I gotta do this instead of that. And I think a lot of times, we all get it, and we've all been there. And I think, friends, my friends certainly, but again, it's easier as you get a few years of experience to just say, right at the moment, I'm not feeling this. I'm not gonna I'm not gonna push anybody else to make plans to do anything. If you got other stuff going on, feel free. But keep me in the loop. If you do end up doing a movie, or going for a hike, or in my case, going to play trivia or anything like that, let me know what the plans end up being, because how often does it happen that you're kind of like, I think I'm just gonna chill out, wear some slippers and hang out and do this or that, or go take my dog for a walk, as the commercial says, right? Because you've had too much human interaction this week, so you're just gonna relax by hanging out with your dog. I can't remember what that is, but you guys probably know. It plays on some of the sports broadcasts. I know that's how I have it beaten into my head. As everybody knows, I'm a big. It's tough. I'm not excited at this point, but I am a CU sports fan, and Colorado Avalanche, the hockey team here in Colorado, and the same commercial, or I guess the same sponsors hit the two sports, right? I mean, it's similar demographic, right? Oh, hey, you like sports and you listen to them. That's a niche. You're probably a male, and you're probably in the 18 to 50 demographic. We can work with this, right? So it's sodas and pizzas and this and that kind of stuff. So there's two possibilities here in terms of getting back. Our road is out beyond that defile out there, and we could just cut over, or depending on, as I mentioned, I think at one point we were on some upper level and kind of wandered our way down towards a crimson forest, and we know we'd reached one of those or could see one here pretty close. I kind of watch to see what transpires here out of our friends. Oh, I forgot. I totally. We even talked about it in the last one. This is why the gold helmet doesn't work very well, because they'll come and get you, and they don't care if it's your own chest or theirs. If you open or go into a chest, they're coming for you. There you go. Oh, it was right through you. Any others? I didn't like that enchanted sword coming at me, that's for sure. Alright. So these will keep a stack there. I really don't like... I know it always happens too, because you put them down and then pick them back up, and then they end up there. But I really don't like having... Oh, we can maybe do something like that. I don't like ending up with shulker boxes in a spot where I could accidentally hit Q or anything like that. That's bad practice. Go figure. This was the gold I was worried about angering the piglins, and it ended up being the chest. No real destination in mind. Just kind of trying to keep my bearings. Which way we've come from. Which way is the means to find our way back home. Don't have to constantly know every turn and variation. There are a lot of you guys up here. Now, of all of them, the crossbow variety, least concerning. But over there, he's got is it an enchanted sword? That's something to keep in mind, because again, you lose track of them, and then a couple good whacks, and things have gone from, we're doing fine, to, uh-oh, pretty quick. Again, this is where I don't know how far we ever got, or that any of this will really connect. We had a pretty good long road there. But we are generally heading back towards our fortress, the bastion, our own debris mine, and all, obviously that's way below us, but all that activity, those paths, torches, all that kind of stuff is something we may come across depending on where this takes us or how far it runs. Or it stops like it has, and then we just head back. Let's go down. Haven't been here. Now, let's not forget our little friends up above us here. Ooh, oh, hey, don't eat my quartz. That was rather rude of you, lava. Let's just go take this. We kind of got our back to the wall, so even if they do get angry and come after us, shouldn't get too surrounded. Oh, I thought for a second there was a ghast head popping up over there. That would have been great, because he would have been pretty well contained. All this is just kind of a nice slope, and we got loads of quartz down here. Ooh, and a little cave. Cut through cave. And this is where, kind of as eclectic or as disconnected as the last episode felt, disjointed, right? We weren't really working on the quartz that we needed, although we talked about it at the beginning of the episode and even the end of the one before. ended up, expanding the basement to get cobblestone and all kinds of random stuff, and then building a big bridge out in our nether to this, kind of the side of this area. It was, what we need right now is more quartz, so why weren't we going to get it? And I guess sometimes the answer on those kind of things is, well, we were putting in the legwork, and I think that's going to pay off pretty well here in this episode as we're finding good sources. In fact, a little better than it did in the previous quartz run when we were kind of stymied by the terrain, right? It was up so high that we couldn't just move from place to place. And check for any of them. They'll just come jumping down on my head. At least the piglins can't explode. But we'll take that gold. Alright, now we just gotta hop our way back up. So where the lava is. Out of this hole. More lava. A lot more exposed here. Just one piece. Any anger? Let's see it if there is. I heard a... Oh, you're the one. You're the one. Whatever that song was. You broke my heart. Made me cry. Oh, that was a hit. That was a hit. Where are you going? Get. You're not gonna fireball me. Oh, ooh. Yes. Well worth the diversion and distraction. Alright, let's get back over to where we were. Kind of try to keep this a bit systematic if we can. Oh, another one. Now we probably exhausted. Oh, another tier. Take it back. This is great. I don't know if we had any waiting for us. But now we're at 3. And we seem to have a crowd developing around us, which is understandable. I mean, they're watching an exhibition of ghast hunting prowess. So no wonder they're kind of mobbing me. It's like Beatlemania back in the 50s when the beetle invasion of the U.S. and all I guess your guys' grandparents and stuff were losing their minds. And, my generation kind of laughs at, it's like, oh yeah, kids going to concerts and all that. But we do it knowing, yeah, we were all there. We were kids. We did that. But when that Beatles stuff happened, parents were seriously like, what the heck is going on? Because there'd never been anything like that. I mean, you think about the top artists that pop, and it was the radio generation, right? Since the 20s, America had a popular musical culture thanks to the radio and then albums. So there was certainly, there were charts of what the best-selling records were, singles and full albums, and my grandparents were all about the big band style, kind of swing, but just big band kind of music, Glenn Miller and was it Dorsey or something like that. Chattanooga Choo Choo and Moon Night Serenade and all these it's songs that you hear and you're like, oh yeah, I think I've heard of that before, and they're kind of the music of World War II and around then, right? And that had been it, and certainly it was it was too was revolutionary in its time. There was a lot of talk. If you ever watched I was gonna say Ken Miller. I don't know who Ken Miller is. I don't think. Should I know that name? Ken Burns's jazz documentary is awesome. And I'm not a huge jazz guy. I love, being out at a restaurant or something like that and hearing or enjoying a concert or something like that. But not being a gifted musician on my own right at all, it's tough to doing this to kind of get a look around at where the threats may come from when I grab this gold. I guess it'll be a surprise if they're here. I don't see them. Where's that other gold? Alright. Doing pretty well. So we're bumping up against this forest, and just like in that, the end of that long runway out to the frozen tundra portal, we had a crimson forest there. And I'm not going to go in and deal with the hoglins or any of that kind of stuff, just to try to find less visible quartz. It's just not efficient for what we're trying to do right now. So we'll stay close. Now, I think those guys are far enough to be undisturbed. See him running this way? Nope. Okay, we're good. And this is exactly what I was talking about when I was saying that we needed to get some of this nether waste terrain that is flat enough that you can just move over a big area and just surface grab everything that's out there. It's quick and easy. There's combat and chances for ghasts and all that good stuff. But if you don't get lucky with the terrain, you just can't do it, right? As much as you want to. And that's one thing that we have absolutely not had in this world. Now this could get exciting. Because when we do that, if anybody comes running over this top edge, we don't have anywhere to go. Alright, there's that. There's that road. This looks like it's covered. I kind of want to work my way down there, but I don't want to miss things like this. This could be trappy. Just slow it down a bit. All right. Now we got one easily offended gent down there. Take him out. one of the things I guess the last episode really illustrated something I know or notice in my own play, and this is, again, as somebody that's nothing special at playing this game, right? I know a lot of people like to play Minecraft and they make videos with this attitude of I'm the best and I know the way that I do it is better than the way you do it. I don't think so. I'm just, when I'm talking like this, I'm just kind of thinking out loud, reminding myself a lot of times, and, sharing my mental dialogue as I go. But one of the things that I really do note, you seem stuck, sir. Let me push you off the edge. As I go through here, is that when you're using bows and stuff like that, the game will punish you for trying to be too exact. And I think you noticed that with my ghasts, and it goes back to the last episode when I was talking about the kind of making fun of myself as I was posting placing the stone and the cobble in that pathway, right? And I know there's people out there like, oh, that's awful. Well, hey, I'm better at it than I used to be. You just keep improving and getting better, and it's something I don't find particularly easy. That whole trying to move with the lava around me. I know, it's not particularly threatening, and I could probably stick a whole lot of blocks in a row on, a flat surface like this without thinking about it too much. But for whatever reason, that does get to me. And so you saw, I had to kind of practice at it and get comfortable and remember what I've done in the past, and then kind of practice it. But so what I was talking about here was I noticed and reminded myself again with ghasts. If you try to hold aim, see how quick he turned and got away. And so one of the things once I start thinking about my aim and what I'm doing, one of the things that I do try to do is not aim at the mob immediately. So I try to, kind of get my bearings and think about, all right, what's the drop of the arrow, all that kind of stuff first. And then right when I'm going to shoot, I just try to pop. See how badly I did that? But I don't know. I haven't heard that talked about too much as a tactic, but it's something that I find, because I do try to like line up shots. I typically play slower like that. Like, all right, line everything up, make sure it's perfect, and then pull the trigger, right? I think here that will kind of work against you, and that's whether it's skeletons in a cave or ghasts or those pigmen, when you're trying to line up a long shot like that, I think the game, gives them a degree of competitiveness by allowing them to move as soon as it senses your cursor over them. That they'll react. So a lot of times those, like, oh, the gas glitched. It didn't take my arrow. Well, I think it's the game kind of designed to make them more formidable than they would be. Otherwise, you just got this giant marshmallow floating around waiting for you to hit it with arrows, and they don't move particularly fast. But trying to aim not at them, get your range and everything figured out, and then shifting kind of at the last second and loosing the arrow is the way I would like to be able to do it. I just usually fail myself. All right. So are we going around this? Is this the one that we were on the other side of earlier? Or is this a different, just little island of basalt that sticks out over our bridge? I really don't like the basalt for two reasons. Where on earth are we? Or where in Nether are we? No, but we're finding more quartz. We'll keep it up. And we are getting close, I think, to an end. And we're full. We all friends here? That's a dragon right there in one box for us. That's great stuff. And I heard a wow. Sometimes that can be the last sound you hear before you die. Okay, and then we got to remember to switch these out of our hotbar because we don't want to accidentally toss them. And I did put away all of the netherrack, so let's grab up just a bit more of that. Start a new stack. And oh, hey, what? What just happened? Oh, Skelly, you made a poor decision. Get him, guys! Did you get him? Oh, good work. Those are my homies. I wish you guys recognized my pigginess in more of these situations, but it's a work in progress. You guys are coming along. So yeah, just a little bit of my thoughts on how I'm trying to get better always, and one of the things I know I don't do as well as I should, but why I think it, keep thinking while you're playing, why, if you're missing, why are you missing, and how are you going to get better at it? And that's, for anybody who's watching, I'm like, hey, he's misses a lot of gas. You're right. Eventually, I usually do get them. It just takes me a lot more arrows than I'd care to admit. But yeah, that's my understanding of my own game and why I think I haven't had as many hits on some of those as I'd like. Now the other thing is when they're kind of going crazy like that. Wait for him to chill, and then get him. That one I know. I don't always have the patience to follow my own advice, but yeah, look at all that. Pretty cool, huh? Thanks for hanging out. Okay, we are not that bad, actually. Thought we were getting a little closer to being done, but still have some time. I don't think we need glowstone. Ooh, here we go. It's always tempting, but since we don't have a need immediately, I kind of like to keep it. Just keep things lit up out here. For me, for you guys. Everybody likes a bright world. Oh, not yet. Where is he? It's always a fun one. Use the lava. Mitigate the fall damage. You'll still get the half heart, but when you're trying to return from some of these higher shelves, not a bad way to do it. And I think this is going to be part of that flow that was just going all over the place down by our little staircase and bridge. So hopefully this will facilitate our return. but I don't like seeing this again. Say anything. You go getting all bent out of shape. Just quartz. Just quartz. You guys can have the gold. Just, you know, instead of getting upset when other people do it, maybe you should be proactive and mine some of that. Get a pick instead of a crossbow. Ooh, I think we'd come across here before, right? We're still pretty high up. Yeah, this is where we started talking about ghasts and bow aiming and all that. Maybe we can ride that lava down as well. So even though we're doing decent on the timing, I don't want to keep this over, and I think we will head back to base at the end of this. Got a pretty good haul. Still haven't think we'd been here, but won't hurt to check, because there's that. It's tempting. I mean, do we really want to ride a lava fall? And okay, those are the ones that double up. Down at our stair. No matter what, I want this stuff. And this is one of those cases where I think you do lose a little bit of the intensity of the game when you've gotten this far, right? And that's with feather falling and our good armor and good food and all that. Navigating between these levels, yeah, you know, we could ride the lava down for the novelty, and yeah, we got fire prot, so we'd take a little crack of fire, but it wouldn't be bad. No worse than falling into lava, right? But you can largely just jump and know you'll be all right. Now it's a risk, right? Because as we always say, top priority is not dying, and the way that you die, hey, we've been here, is to let multiple factors come together and affect you in a way that you can't overcome. So, you know, you're riding down a lava waterfall, and all of a sudden you look at an Enderman as you're doing it, and then when you're already weakened by the fire, he's hitting you, and what do? You know, you hit the wrong button or whatever, and next thing you know, you're dead. So there's a risk there. There's a risk in shooting a bow, because who knows if there was a pigmen underneath to get mad if I missed, right? That arrow just went down out of sight. That's everybody knows in the news the tragedy on the New Mexico movie set, Alec Baldwin and the cinematographer and all that with the gun accident. And you know, that's gun safety 101. I've like I've mentioned before, I've never hunted. I'm not opposed to it by any means, and I have gone through hunter safety. I have a hunter card because I do go target shooting and stuff like that. You need that, or you should. I feel you should have that. If for nothing else, you know, you can be the most well-versed, you know, had a family that brought you up around guns and handguns and all varieties of them, from the the time you were in elementary school kind of stuff, and think you're a big shot. But you need to understand what the baseline knowledge of everybody else is then, and what's the common rules. It's like driver's ed, right? Everybody has to agree how you're going to react to those stop signs, or who's going to turn next. Who do you yield to? Because if you don't all work together, it gets real bad real quick. And the same thing goes with any kind of hunter safety or gun conduct or any of that kind of stuff. You need to know. And one of the baseline rules of that is you never shoot if you don't know where your round is going to end up, right? And that's why if you're not confident that you're going to get an animal while you're shooting. Now, again, same applies for targets, but if you're not confident that you're going to hit it, don't take the shot, right? That's the maturity of hunting, or hunting in a mature manner. And when it comes to an animal, you really have to take that into account, because if you're not 100% confident that you have a clean shot, you could wound that animal rather than giving it a quick, clean death, and it will run, suffer. You'll have to track it, and that's a legal thing when you're hunting. If you injure an animal, you have to follow it to ensure that it has been put out of its suffering, and that it's not just out there somewhere struggling or in pain. At least here in the hunter safety that I've been through, that's the deal. And I would say absolutely that's a bottom line, right? You're not out there to make anything suffer. So anyway, that's a little morbid for me. But when you're shooting, and for me, that's targets or anything. If you're going to set up targets and shoot, you need to make sure of what's behind your target, because the first thing with a paper target, that bullet doesn't care at all. Don't shoot bottles. Everybody, it's the typical thing. Oh, I went out shooting bottles and cans and all that kind of stuff. It just leaves a bunch of litter and trash around. And nobody wants to be out in the wilderness and find a bunch of broken glass that you intentionally shot up. So while it may sound cool to tinkle and all that, it's a horrible mess. Don't do it. On those lines, clean up your brass. The brass is the casings of any of the rounds that you do fire. Some movie, think The Matrix, right? If everybody's familiar with that movie, there's the scene where Morpheus is running out of the office, right? He's broken the cuffs and he's making the run, and the helicopter's there and he's going to jump. And while he's running, they're kind of clearing the path for him with I'm guessing that's like supposed to be a 50 cal mounted on the side of the helicopter. And there's just a rain of the casings dropping straight down from the gun. That's what I'm talking about. Every time you shoot a gun, it's going to eject the jacket or casing that held the gunpowder or whatever the propellant is, and the round, whether it's lead or nowadays, some other metal alloy that will be less toxic to the environment, if it's just left out there, because that's a big problem. Believe it or not, there's so many slugs or bullets that have been shot out in the world, and they're just a lump of lead, and we all know that lead gets into groundwater and all that kind of stuff. So over time, those are just going to slowly biodegrade, and lead is going to leach out into groundwater, and we'll all have to deal with that. Now that happens in nature too, and it's one thing to do our part to be responsible about it and all that. It's another to go around panicking or say, oh, we've got to go comb what was the comment with the forest fires and all that? We got to go clean the forests, to clean up all the leaves so that they won't spread the fires. Same thing, right? It's totally unrealistic and irrelevant to think, oh, we're going to go do anything about um, the mistakes of the past. We just can't. They're there. It's something you deal with. Um, but we can certainly try to be responsible going forward. And I think a lot of the manufacturers of all that kind of stuff have gotten in on that movement. Like, yeah, lead is cheap and malleable and easily used, but there's a cost to it. And I don't know enough about it. I haven't honestly, I haven't shot a gun in years. Um, I haven't bought any. I've still got way more ammo than I would need for a 22 and a more high powerful rifle that I have stored in a gun safe at a friend's house because I don't have one, and I wouldn't trust having unlocked guns here in an apartment type environment. So be very responsible, very careful. There's a weight to even taking one in a target type environment, and I think the recent news has just got everybody more aware of how tragic those things can end up when people think they know what's going on and aren't responsible. So be careful out there. Anyway, the arrow I fired into the distance is an example of that back in the Nether. We don't have any more, so we got just enough for one more dragon fight. I don't think we'll do that immediately, but it's good to know we've got it. We need to keep working in that direction. So I'm sure we've filled our time. Very close. Let me just finish up the story as I say thanks so much for coming and hanging out for round 2 here today. We'll see what tomorrow brings. There's always challenges apparently. Yeah, if you're firing a bow or any kind of projectile that could be dangerous to what it lands on, don't fire up along a ridge or up the side of a hill or anything like that, because that, in the case of bullets, those can travel up to or beyond a mile, depending on the caliber and how powerful the gun and the round is. So there's a lot of stuff to be aware of there, and the safest thing is just to know that behind whatever you're shooting at is a solid, dirt based or covered area that round will bury itself into without ricocheting or bouncing or redirecting or anything else, or worst of all, clearing the visible space and then settling down into the distance. That's why in the movies and everything where, there's just people celebratorily shooting, think Yosemite Sam just shooting his 6-shooters up into the air. Those are going to come down somewhere, and you've got to be responsible and know where. So in Minecraft, be very careful when you're shooting those bows. Understand that you could have a horde of pigmen coming at you if it doesn't work out right, and somehow they'll know you shot that arrow regardless, just like they swarmed that skeleton. So anyway, I've had a lot of fun in the Nether with you guys tonight. I hope you have as well, and we've got a good old load of quartz. We'll process that to start the next one, and then see what we can do about expanding the barn roof in the episode to follow. And for homework for myself, I'm going to be looking a little bit to see if modern traditional style red barns have any kind of horizontal white lines or anything like that before they get up to the roof on the big broad side. But we'll see. And until then, you guys take care. We'll see you for the next one. Bye now.